inside the last 10 years. And the energy sector na still one big challenge wey dey hamburg the economy. As a country with one of the highest tariff dem na Africa, as we dey rent power from other people dem, you think say President Biya go able to make change na the energy sector inside the next 3.5 years? Tune in this Sunday at 9 p.m. for the program We Economy na True Talk Radio 98.5
Salone
FM.
does spend over $1 billion on electricity inside the last 10 years. And the energy sector na still one big challenge wey dey hamburg the economy. As a country with one of the highest tariff dem na Africa, as we dey rent power from other people dem, you think say President Biya go able to make change na the energy sector inside the next 3.5 years? Tune in this Sunday at 9 p.m. for the program We Economy na True Talk Radio 98.5 FM, Kiss 104 FM na Bo, Top Radio na Kenema, Vopad Radio na Waterloo, and Radio Bankasoka na Potloko for a discussion with Andrew Kiley, wey na the chairman of EDSA, and other experts there. You can also call in or join me on Facebook at True Talk FM. True Talk, get the facts, get True Talk. Salone does spend over $1 billion on electricity inside the last 10 years. And the energy sector na still one big challenge wey dey hamburg the economy. As a country with one of the highest tariff dem na Africa, as we dey rent power from other people dem, you think say President Biya go able to make change na the energy sector inside the next 3.5 years? Tune in this Sunday at 9 p.m. for the program We Economy na True Talk Radio 98.5 FM, Kiss 104 FM na Bo, Top Radio na Kenema, Vopad Radio na Waterloo, and Radio Bankasoka na Potloko for a discussion with Andrew Kiley, wey na the chairman of EDSA, and other experts there. You can also call in or join me on Facebook at True Talk FM. True Talk, get the facts, get True Talk. Salone does spend over $1 billion on electricity inside the last 10 years. And the energy sector na still one big challenge wey dey hamburg the economy. As a country with one of the highest tariff dem na Africa, as we dey rent power from other people dem, you think say President Biya go able to make change na the energy sector inside the next 3.5 years? Tune in this Sunday at 9 p.m. for the program We Economy na True Talk Radio 98.5 FM, Kiss 104 FM na Bo, Top Radio na Kenema, Vopad Radio na Waterloo, and Radio Bankasoka na Potloko for a discussion with Andrew Kiley, wey na the chairman of EDSA, and other experts there. You can also call in or join me on Facebook at True Talk FM. True Talk, get the facts, get True Talk. Salone does spend over $1 billion on electricity inside the last 10 years. And the energy sector na still one big challenge wey dey hamburg the economy. As a country with one of the highest tariff dem na Africa, as we dey rent power from other people dem, you think say President Biya go able to make change na the energy sector inside the next 3.5 years? Tune in this Sunday at 9 p.m. for the program We Economy na True Talk Radio 98.5 FM, Kiss 104 FM na Bo, Top Radio na Kenema, Vopad Radio na Waterloo, and Radio Bankasoka na Potloko for a discussion with Andrew Kiley, wey na the chairman of EDSA, and other experts there. You can also call in or join me on Facebook at True Talk FM. True Talk, get the facts, get True Talk. Salone does spend over $1 billion on electricity inside the last 10 years. And the energy sector na still one big challenge wey dey hamburg the economy. As a country with one of the highest tariff dem na Africa, as we dey rent power from other people dem, you think say President Biya go able to make change na the energy sector inside the next 3.5 years? Tune in this Sunday at 9 p.m. for the program We Economy na True Talk Radio 98.5 FM, Kiss 104 FM na Bo, Top Radio na Kenema, Vopad Radio na Waterloo, and Radio Bankasoka na Potloko for a discussion with Andrew Kiley, when are the chairman of EDSA, and other experts then. You can also call in or join me on Facebook at True Talk FM. True Talk. Get the facts, get True Talk.
Famulem, good evening again. We welcome you to yet another episode of We Economy. As we promised on the last time, today we want to talk around the energy sector. I mean, for any country grow, and for let the businesses them do well, even for the production be inside that country, they need for ensure say they get steady lights. And if the lights no there, factory they know they work, hospitals they know they run, school even to we schools themselves know they operate well. So this is something way crucial, something way salon people and they run with us. Imagine say you put you plus as a fridge and you don't cook for 1 week. Before 2 days, me were there with Unati as the host, my name is Bimba Kamara. Now, I wonder we kick off straight to the point. Doc, we, Mr. Lavali, Mr. Kiley, sorry, we don't hear you Boku thing, but we don't hear you Boku complaints about electricity in the country. So I wonder we tell you, waiting at the current state of electricity and the energy sector in Salon. We know they limit you to anything. We wonder you tell Famulem what's actually involved inside this electricity business.
Well, the energy sector is energy now, once they produce something, the people that they use as a utility, it's very difficult for them to satisfy them. Over the years, we don't see access to energy don't increase considerably. They get 10%, 15%, don't cut 36%. But that is not good enough because as a country, development depends on energy. Even this 36%, most of them urban areas, the rural areas, access very low, maybe about 6%. So we're in a state whereby there have been improvements over the years, but for develop as a country, that is not enough. Governments don't do a lot in terms of increasing the power supply, the installed power over the years. Right now, we get power from various sources. We get to Bumbula project, so we get power, 50 megawatts, 3 million season. We get other power projects that we can do, IPPs, we get power, we get power that comes from IPPs, we get some solar projects that we get power. We get the thermal power stations, then like in Tom and Black Oil Road, we get some small projects, but they try to fix them. So overall, the energy situation, then you get provincial stations, and also someday we know they get power from the grid, but they get their power supply, isolated power supply. Then you go down now to other provincial towns. In Kailan, recently, in the Kailan, we just resuscitate the 2 megawatt power station. So overall, the situation is not good, but I think say government will try for doing this. The fact that access will increase considerably is good. The power sector regarded as some problems, the engineers are really they try. I mean, with the facilities that were available. But somebody say for make you fix the problems, the normal it's already happening now. Not of the wider problems, but the technical problems cost no less than $50 million. So you get problems and the way they will call. But at the same time, we supply unreliable power to people. Well, we try for doing best as much as possible. However, when you compare this with what may happen, we run NPA in 2000 to 2002. And at that time, they will not be able to get past even 10 megawatts at the city. So it's a lot of improvement, but again, kind of thing, and the way they make the more you increase the access, even now with the access at 36, you increase them to 46 or 50%. People that must grumble because it's a necessity. Everybody needs power. So we're at a situation whereby the energy sector is not be in a very good state. However, the sectors, the participants, EGTC and ETSA, they try for doing best. That make ETSA look at MCC look at as a binding constraint. Like the can help out FCDO, Japanese, different projects that now have to go to talk about over the past few years for improved what they have done at the power sector. But right now, the power is unreliable. It's a high cost of producing power. Then ETSA get very high losses. I don't know, but different people, they don't look at the losses. They say the loss up to about 50-60% of the energy. And when that really happens, it's quite scary because half of them are technical losses because the lines them back and sometimes they overload them. Then the other half commercial losses when billing, lack of collection, non-metering, people that they illegally abstract electricity. So it's also a two-way street. Not only the electricity company, they don't know the problem. The individuals settle the using electricity get problem for that. But we're at a stage whereby we have a lot of potential for power. When you look at this country in terms of solar power potential, you look at the country in terms of hydro potential, there is a lot. But you need money for me development facilities that they, and some of them are being developed. Sector has always had a minister.
Okay.
As you know, the president they decide, say, INSEFs are going to take over the ministry a few months ago, then dissolve the board, but then they reinstate the board back.
Okay.
And they mean at the new chairman of ETSA, they get the chairman of EGTC. Then the sector they under the office of the president's either the minister, but then he put in a mechanism for manage the ministry. There is a governance committee headed by Dr. Yumkela, and inside that committee there, you get the two deputy ministers, the DM1 and DM2. You get the heads of the institutions, ETSA, the chairman, the EGTC, and the EWRC, then a part of that. The Minister of Finance is not part of that. MCC, SNCDU person in Deikoma also will be part of that. So will they review things the way they happen at the sector? Will they make decisions just like how minister can make a decision? But Dr. Yumkela is the one representing the president for head that steering that governance committee. But the structure a little bit more deeper than that. Apart from the governance committee, there is also a steering committee, where that steering committee has a lot of other technical people on and a lot of administrative people will never do the power sector. And importantly, it gets a lot of donors. FCDO there, the World Bank there, USAID there. So they discuss things related to the energy sector and plan. Underneath that steering committee, there you even get technical committees that will not set up. So the structure is quite robust.
And complex.
No, it is not. Perhaps it ought to be complex because the very fact that the sector they undergo reform and the fact that that reform they really can, most of it is being funded by outsiders. And the very fact that those outsiders want to see results, I think the structure makes a lot of sense.
So this steering committee is headed by Yumkela, and the two deputy.
No, not the governance.
The governance committee is headed by Dr. Yumkela.
Yeah.
And the two deputy ministers are within this governance committee.
Yes, they are.
So Dr. Yumkela will assume it's a de facto minister.
Well, no, the president is the minister, but the president.
Well, that's why I said de facto.
No. The president considers it so important that, in fairness to him, this group reports to the president, and the president is on top of what is happening.
Okay.
He asks pertinent questions. He knows what is happening in the sector.
Okay.
And before we go further on the questions, for people that we want for join and people that we want for chip in, the number for call is 031-742-826. 031-742-826. And you can also follow we live na Facebook, True Talk FM, in case you want for drop comments then. Yes, Doc, continue.
Yeah, no, so you mentioned on the sources of energy. I just want to let family understand that. If I hear you clearly, you say we get 3 sources of energy, right? Or plus half, let's say 4 sources right now. So we get that. You mentioned the one that depend on the heavy fuels like car power. We get some hydro. They will also they buy with the import.
Oh yes.
Yeah, with the import.
Yeah.
Yes, as well as some amount of solar here, there,
Yeah.
off grid.
Yeah.
Tell Famude a little bit more about this. How the dependency? How much we depend on this heavy fuel? How much will they buy, and how much resources they will generate? Let people that know the background.
Well, the thing really, Usai, we did, but even that, it's now we built that a company called We Build, and then they run Bumbuna. Bumbuna, they generate for we during the rainy season up to about 50 megawatts, and it's the main source of energy. During the dry season, it could drop to maybe about 20 megawatts.
So they lost 60% during the dry season.
Well, yes, because it's seasonal. They run it. Yeah, they lose a lot of it. But we get isolated sources from some solar sources as well.
So that 50,
but we have to buy.
Yeah, so that 50 megawatts for the need for Freetown. How many percent is that, you think?
No, the problem about the needs of Freetown, the needs of Freetown never ever. We still need to improve a lot of things and to improve the power in Freetown.
Okay.
But we're there at a stage whereby, with all outside problems, it is supplying power to the greater part of Freetown.
Okay.
Side and day we then will get load shedding here and there. Yes, the power coming to Freetown is not enough, but then there are limitations. There are limitations in terms of how much power we can get from the through the transmission lines, how much power we can get through the distribution system.
Yeah.
There are limitations, admittedly.
Okay.
But the power is much better than it was before.
How much will you get from car power?
Well, car power can go up to 55, 60 megawatts during the dries. Then we can get about 25 during the rainy season.
Okay, so will they replace?
Yeah.
So as hydro they go down,
as hydro they go down. But we get from other sources. We get CI Energy again from Ivory Coast through the CLSG line, with the CAM. So we get from various sources, and now a very fluid, because you actually look at shopping for the least cost option. We go make you buy competitively. So whoever they sell and give you at a reasonable cost, until we able to substitute for that, which is what is in our plan, then we have to continue buying.
Yeah.
And if we buy, obviously the cost they vary depending on who's I will take them.
Yeah. So I don't know if this number is then right with the World Bank. I've been listening to the World Bank, the recent publication where they do.
Yeah.
I mean, they say if we did buy from the one where you come out Ivory Coast,
Yeah.
it's about $0.12 per wattage hour, right?
Yeah.
Then if we did buy car power, it's about 0.25. Is that are these numbers correct? So that it costs you like more than 2 times more.
No, not really. You have to look at them figures then they in context. Yes, car power might be more expensive, but then they get an element of capacity charge again, Panam. Then the problem is anytime when you want emergency power in a country, sometimes you pay much higher for that emergency power because the mobilization costs high. Maybe the type of power they use every fuel oil, it will be much more expensive than power coming from some other sources, whether a mixture of hydro and other things, than whether they use, or LNG, whether they use for supplying the power. So yes, there is a disparity in the power, but you have to look at the agreements in the context of that. Did you need emergency power at that time? And why did you need that emergency power? How much of it do you need? We're in a situation now where we're able to rationalize, say, well, okay, at the end of it all, we'll get for rationalize, like for next year, what sort of power supply we will get for coming. And we are having, we don't ask, there is a power transaction advisor coming for advisory on negotiating best contracts for bring power into Sierra Leone. So we are looking at those options. But yes, we are getting a lot of power from outside. You're quite correct.
Yes, I mean.
So before we go, we don't get we first caller. We go find that we pick in call and then we are you with in there for say. Hello. Oh, I'm sorry, we don't miss that caller. So if you dey try for call we can call we on WhatsApp or you dey call we on the number. And before we go on to you back, Doc, they try for quickly to go with Facebook comments them. One Mr. Haji Bar comments something where I want to let you clarify for him. He said 36% electricity now you mentioned say we get. He said how we reach at these percentages.
Well, The people there, where you know the population of Sierra Leone, right? 8.4 million. You know how many people, how many households connected to electricity. You know roughly how many people there in a household and whatnot. You can easily estimate if they give power to their areas, they are in a Freetown, and this is the population, and these are the number of people in the household, then the access goes to so many thousand or million people. Then you calculate for the whole country. That's now that nothing can come up with it at 6%, because you can estimate it. You know who that they give power to. But in rural areas, we know it's very poor. Most of the population in that rural area, they don't get better power. So their own access is 6%. So the average now is 36%. It's easy for no, because you know that they supply with power. You know how many people in a household.
Yes.
You can estimate that.
All right. We don't get we first caller. Hello. You name and who say you the call we from? Hello. You name and who say you the call we from? Oh, we don't lost that caller. The number for call na 031-742-826. 031-742-826. Yes, Doc. You can continue.
Yeah, I mean, so another thing that we want to talk about, the way they give you state is the losses. I mean, so if I get you clearly, you say like how you import something, kind of Wataki. You go take care of your truck, go.
Yes.
You don't load them. By the time you reach there, you store.
Yes.
Half done lost.
Yes.
Then after you reach there, you store. You sell and you give people there. You build them. After you don't build them again, another 20% don't loss. So that means everything we extra they get, then they get money for 40% and not 60%. And 60% they lost. Lost before the bill, they are not lost after the bill.
Yeah, these figures are arguable.
Yeah.
Some man they say 45%, some man say 60%. So I'm not doing the devil's advocate, but we lose a lot of the power, and then the abstraction of electricity. Man, the way not they pay, when they go bypass meter.
We know how many percent they go that side.
They're looking at that right now. The EDSA self, probably some people the way they know the bill. Probably they know they calibrate some meters. Probably they have some IT problems in the commercial section. Probably they get some problems of reconciliation. So basically, the high-end customers, when are then supposed to pay right, maybe they don't have the right meters, or their meters are not calibrated, or some of them are deliberately bypassing the system. There's a lot wrong within the system as well. So now that make, if we can't talk about the reform program, part of the one and the loss reduction is a major reform program. So we don't do that, but we look at both sides. We'll look at extra stuff, what they can do. Some of it is within their control, some of it wrong. We say that they give a light, but then they go bypass electricity. Let us look at those kind of people. And there are lots of charlatans where they go around, they make illegal connections and so on. So all of these things have to be addressed in the reform program.
Okay, so am I right if I separate this program into these problems we don't highlight into three? One, dealing with the poor condition of infrastructure.
Yes.
Two, the public.
Yes.
And three, inefficiencies of ESA.
Oh yes, true.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we get three problems here.
True.
There are inefficiencies, management inefficiencies.
There are definitely inefficiencies.
And then we get problems with the infrastructure, and we sell the people there. It's a not the happy situation.
That is true.
I mean, maybe we first start.
Yeah, so we they get several calls then when they come in. So we they open the line at exactly 10 p.m. so that people then will know, and people then go able for coming and contribute them voice. At exactly 10 p.m. we they open the line. So with that then they call now, go advise that we wait for that time. Again, the number is 031-742-826. 031-742-826. Or you can drop a comment now with Facebook page. We said the time for calling at 10 p.m. So let we wait at that time, we all go get we bite. And so
and if possible, it will come through. If they want send text message to you on the WhatsApp, we can also read down the back.
That is advisable as well. So as we go further, Mr. Kylie, where you been the talk, you mentioned say we lost about 50 to 60% of we electricity output them, and that been a major concern. And we really wanted the family them know why waiting being we are. Like, why are we here? Waiting lead to these challenges then. And before we get you input, we've been done interview Doctor been interview a research scientist at the University of Michigan and named Franklin Kanyako. And interestingly, I've been in students as well, doing a own schooling days then. So we want to get written Ibn say before we can get you input, sir. So let we cut to the quick snippet, quick one.
Salone does spend over $1 billion on electricity inside the last 10 years. And the energy sector now still one big challenge where they unblock the economy. As a country with one of the highest tariffs in Africa, as we dey rent power from other people them, you think say President Biogo able to make change na the energy sector inside the next 3.5 years? Tune in this Sunday at 9 p.m. for the program We Economy na True Talk Radio 98.5 FM, Kiss 104 FM na Bo, Top Radio na Kenema, Vopad Radio na Waterloo, and Radio Bankasoka na Potloko for a discussion with Andrew Kiley, when the chairman of EPSA, and other experts then. You can also call in or join me on Facebook at True Talk FM. True Talk, get the facts, get true.
Thank you for having me. You're definitely right that energy is crucial to the growth of almost any economy. If you look around the world, most of the developed countries or even rapidly growing countries, you can see that then development is directly correlated with their level of energy use. Now, in the case of Sierra Leone, like you said, different government don't allocate a lot of money in this sector. But two things where we're able to address it, where they are very fundamental for energy access or energy growth. One is the available capacity. We're able to expand on the available capacity for even meet the demand of certain areas. That's one. Then number two, the distribution systems there. We're able to provide enough distribution systems there for take that power from most of the generator and actually deliver them to the customers there. I'll give you an example. Take Car Power. Car Power now 126 megawatt plant. If Freetown they operate at full capacity, then they not enough for meet that demand for Freetown. That's one. Then number two, even if Car Power they operate at 100% capacity, the evacuation capacity where we get, the Kinton power plant, a substation where we get, now 126 kilovolt plant. Now that evacuation capacity for that plant then at 80 megawatt. So Car Power they generate 126, while Kinton able evacuate 80 megawatt of that.
Supply 60 megawatts during the dry season, then 25 megawatts during the rainy season. And the contract done we can get to Car Power. But the thing where you talk we're quite correct, you therefore match your generation to transmission and distribution. You therefore get the evacuation capacity for the power we they supply. So there are limitations. For example, the Bumbuna 161 kV line get limitations. There is a certain amount of power will not take pass. There are limitations in various distribution systems. Obviously, you're not going to take pass a certain amount. But those ones are looked at. So when you then look at the power requirements, you therefore match all things up. But one of the things about this reform program when they take place, most of them problems and they will be addressed for clear all them blockages and they.
So if I just follow up from what I understand from what you say, it's a divided problems into two. It's there is capacity problem for GUI waiting we need actually need, and there is distribution problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so if both are correct, why are we still here? Why are we not getting capacity? Now, you said highlight some of those things. What if you see that some of the reasons are responsible for we capacity limitations as well as with distribution limitations?
You got to go back historically, and I can hate for go too backwards. But,
okay, no, I like where you go back.
We run the NPA between 2000 and 2002. There were limitations in power supply. Donors then they give money for repair the generators. But I tell you something, we said we get a lot of problems. For implementing donor funds, repair generators, begin run them, then problems also within the organization itself. It was difficult. They don't try that, they don't try several management contracts, even before we take over. Then two, we say the best way forward for the power sector now through private sector participation of some sort. Private sector come in with your own funds, then they look at efficiency and they run it. And also let's not forget, I know they say now, but over the years there has been a lot of interference also into sectors. Because I will call
political interference.
The power sector like a state-owned enterprise. There has been lots of interference in the past.
Which type of interference?
Well, the interference when you go into sector now basically political interference.
Okay.
I'm not saying now, but it has happened right from 2000 to now.
Yeah.
Now, I think, in fairness to the government, there is some steadiness and a willingness to support these things. Like I say, government they support the private sector participation project, where Deloitte they look at them. We don't get meetings these past few weeks, and they are looking at the kind of private sector participation we will get into the sector. So the reforms are going to take place.
Okay.
But it has been very difficult because it's cash trapped. There are capacity problems in there, and it needs massive investment to come into the sector.
Okay.
And exactly for generation, also you need to make sure you have the right type of generation where it will be cheap enough for making you able to afford them, because going with this HFO and whatnot is not the way to go. It's very expensive.
Yeah. I mean, just to follow up on the same question, some analysis they happen. Okay, first let's start with Dr. Yumkela. I mean, they are this UN launching.
Yeah.
It talks something. They say we are spending about 7.5 million a month on just car power, and then there was some analysis where ABC they say starting from since we don't get car power to now, we don't spend about $1 billion or so dollars on just them.
No, I don't think so. Don't spend $1 billion. I don't know if you tell them about no. Don't spend
Well,
$1
if you
billion.
take 7.5 million a month times 12 times the 13 years when they don't do, it's about that. It's about so the question is, if we say that a judicious use of that amount,
only money that we will spend, we argue say the problem has been when you when you make emergency decisions, it's always a matter of give and take. Emergency decisions can be expensive because the person get to mobilize. He may not be using the best fit, because even when we've been there, we mean 2000 to 2002, this ships have been there without light. We bring in 6 Caterpillar units, each one of 1 megawatt when a diesel. That was not the right decision, but it was emergency at that time. So what we have to get out of emergency mode in this country, let us look at a more sustainable solution.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Emergency don't last over 10 years.
Well, it depends again on government and wherewithal.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever you might say about government is subsidizing the power sector. I mean, and they subsidize it, sir. The truth taught me. And that should not be happening because government gets social sectors where it will spend the money on. But government is subsidizing this power sector because without energy, you will get problem in this country, productivity not go there.
Yeah.
So government realizes that it wants to get out of this mess. That's why we get all the reform program they are already on board. But the reform program when you get on board, when they come in immediately. If they take reform program, it takes a few years for make you implement them.
Okay.
So in the interim, you have to make decisions that may not be very palatable, but those decisions have to be made. And that's the problem.
Yeah, I mean, and we have a look at the numbers from this World Bank publication. I mean, just in 2023, government subsidy alone close to 814 millions, 814,000 millions. So we're talking about 814, close to $1 billion new loans and subsidy just to.
What's in our name in terms of dollars?
Well, if you change, there's about, is it 400 or something? 400,000?
When you're not charging a cost recovery tariff, right?
Yeah.
Now, if EGTC actually decides, say, I'm going to charge the tariff to cover all those costs of EDSA, EGTC, and whatnot, the public not going to pay that tariff.
Yes.
And on the flip side again, you can argue, say, the public not get an obligation for pay for other people the inefficiency.
Yeah.
The public in well-run utilities, that's 60% losses,
Exactly.
not for being more than 15 or 20% or whatever.
Thank you.
Right?
Yes.
So the emphasis should be not a blame game, but in trying to bring down these losses. Because otherwise, what will happen? Because government is not charging a cost recovery tariff, therefore EDSA, EGTC have to be subsidized. and it's being subsidized, but we try to get out of that mode.
Yeah. So another this same problem with, because we don't establish the buying from Qatar are very expensive, almost 2 times compared to importing also.
Well,
so,
it depends on what you look at in terms of the buying component.
Yes.
But you can
So one thing I see in the reports, the way I've been reading is that even with supply capacity, we get a capacity, but we get 44 megawatts that is not working. At various stations, according to this World Bank report, at the various stations that we get stations there we don't produce anything because of lack of maintenance, spare parts, this and that. So if we improve on that,
not only in Freetown they talk about.
In the country, I mean.
Yeah, they are saying, okay.
Yeah.
Then the question arises with some of them station and whether it's worthwhile even repairing them. Yes, I agree. There may be problems with kickstarting some projects.
Yes.
Project management don't get some small problem. There have been lapses here and there, but they've been corrected. And by and large, with the reform program now, all the power supply them with potentially can come in. We're trying to get them to supply power. For example, there's a 40 megawatt respite project we get for start very soon. When they start, maybe in 2 years' time, we'll start realizing an extra 40 megawatts injected into that system. Then you get this West African, the Western area power. We can bring in maybe another 140, 150 megawatts in this LNG plant. So in the immediate medium, not to say immediate, but in the medium term, 2-3 years time, there are solutions coming in to get that base power.
Yeah, we got to get to the
interim
solutions.
for the next 2 years is where we had this problem to say, if you want to bring in some things for a place power, competitive, it has to be done properly. You have to have proper transaction advice on DPPs, on IPPs. Then come in, you choose whoever you choose, whether in a Kappa and you continue or whatever they continue for maybe competitive for Sierra Leone. You also have to shop around for power. It comes from CI Energy or other side, and you go look competitively. There are solar projects, small solar projects coming on board. There are low-hanging fruits like 6 megawatt and Newton and other things that you can bring come on board. Okay. There is this generation they get from King Tom and Blackwell Road, we can inject another maybe 20 megawatts into the system. So those are being actively looked at by this governance committee what they talk about.
Okay, good.
And those are on the cards.
Yeah. So the King Tom and the other one we mentioned, those are heavy fuels, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so going away from heavy fuel will help me because heavy fuel tend to be more expensive.
No, we have the energy plan where we get for this country, the roadmap shows that up to 2030 we should have 50% of renewables.
Exactly.
So that is where we're heading for.
Okay.
So Famulem, if we are there with we today we discuss around the energy sector and the electricity challenges them, plus possible solutions them for deal with the light business in the country. With me and my co-host, Dr. Stephen Adams, and I get the chairman for EDSA, Mr. Andrew Kiley. We will go on a short break, and where we will come back, remember say the number for call on or to send a text message on now 031 742 826. I repeat 031 742 826. At 10 o'clock we will open the phone line and we will receive calls them or text messages them.
Salone does spend over $1 billion on electricity inside the last 10 years. And the energy sector now still one big challenge where they unblock the economy. As a country with one of the highest tariffs in Africa, as we they rent power from other people them, you think say President Biogo able to make change na the energy sector inside the next 3.5 years? Tune in this Sunday at 9 p.m. for the program We Economy na True Talk Radio 98.5 FM, Kiss 104 FM na Bo, Top Radio na Kenema, Fopad Radio na Waterloo, and Radio Bankasoka na Potloko for a discussion with Andrew Kiley, we are the chairman of EDSA, and other experts there. You can also call in or join me on Facebook at True Talk FM. True Talk, get the facts, get True Talk. Salone does spend over $1 billion on electricity inside the last 10 years. And the energy sector now still one big challenge where they unblock the economy. As a country with one of the highest tariffs in Africa, as we dey rent power from other people them, you think say President Biogo able for make change na the energy sector inside the next 3.5 years? Tune in this Sunday at 9 p.m. for the program We Economy na True Talk Radio 98.5 FM, Kiss 104 FM na Bo, Top Radio na Kenema, Fopad Radio na Waterloo, and Radio Bankasoka na Potloko for a discussion with Andrew Kiley, wey na the chairman of EDSA, and other experts them. You can also call in or join me on Facebook at True Talk FM. True Talk, get the facts, get True Talk. Salone does spend over $1 billion on electricity inside the last 10 years. And the energy sector na still one big challenge where they unblock the economy. As a country with one of the highest tariff them na Africa, as we dey rent power from other people them, you think say President Biogo able for make change na the energy sector inside the next 3.5 years? Tune in this Sunday at 9 p.m. for the program We Economy na True Talk Radio 98.5 FM, Kiss 104 FM na Bo, Top Radio na Kenema, Fopad Radio na Waterloo, and Radio Bankasoka na Potloko for a discussion with Andrew Kiley, wey na the chairman of EDSA, and other experts them. You can also call in or join me on Facebook at True Talk FM. True Talk, get the facts, get True Talk.
Welcome back, and as if you just join me, remember say today we will discuss around the energy sector na Salone, the electricity problem, and within our common challenges them we dey face, and possible solutions then to them problem them. Again with me now my co-host Dr. Stephen Adams, and I get with me the chairman for EDSA, Mr. Andrew Kiley. So Mr. Andrew Kiley, again to you. So we dey notice say lights na something where any country need for let them go, electricity primarily, and if you know they affect business system, they affect beaucoup other sectors them. So I want to understand wetin are the impact when way electricity they get on the economy. But before you come to you input where you want give, we want to hear you from Famulem on wetin are the constraints that we then they face, where this business, where these lights, where they not get lights at all, how will they affect them business and other sectors then. Let me hear you from some Famulem.
The light problem, we don't take problem because at times they can fall for materials, they can give every things, they won't take them, they won't give back, they won't take and no still they can fuel. So we don't get out of this problem. From you for like more than one week, we can do that. It's time to do it. So we have to now say, you know, even to take them phone and come, like just they come. And then not able to say that light is good. So that problem we don't get. You don't make a decision now. What do you make my life do for you? One life possibly and a life do for you before you use the liar. So therefore you anything to do now for it, now they are for you before therefore you die. Because they want to know now they are for you. So anything for it now they are doing for you. So light no they give problem. So any other to bring it up one issue all that nine call that because at the give at time they take so all that will be problems.
And I'd say in the beg make them try and amend them problems there.
About 3 times because if you go and borrow to call for us, now we don't tell you don't even call the money you tell you amend them up to now same thing anyway. So so that we need to buy power and then we do our middle platform amend this situation because it will cause big problem because this like that one the fish and one will be so show to the because through that number what they do so that will cause a big problem so that will be whether it's that for amend and making fishing.
Take an Indian off from the past to the buyers block 3 for 5,000 now the buyers block with the light they come they go they carry they go pass with fair ice block, we dey struggle for ice block.
How much days now when I know they get light too?
At 3 days now, so they go calm.
So also una can use for preserve the chicken wey light no kill. Na the light una can use for keep am na freezer or
Na fridge and they put am. The light on na for the cool man they buy ice block to put am.
So wey light no dey na which one una can use?
Na ice block we dey use.
Okay, thank you very much.
If you tell me what they sell battery, I will pay you what I will buy. Sell a full battery at my 10,000.
So now, so when you sell you water, how you can use that for making cool?
Sure.
Yeah.
I can come by, can go buy the ice block. I don't know if how them can do it. How they get light of them, they get light. No, so also how they go, like you said, and get light. So all them sell, they get light. I go on that side. I buy a total and come. Don't see. I know we know say that no get light or almost that no get light. I don't understand.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
On 031 742 826. At exactly 10 o'clock, we open the phone line for Lewi or comments them from Fambulen. So yes, Mr. Kylie, you don't hear waiting people and say waiting you feel say as the chairman of ETSA, how you feel say this they actually affect the economy, the light business?
So, as chairman of ETSA, Dr. Winam Banen say there is a direct relationship between electricity and electricity supply and GDP.
Yes.
Once electricity is not in our country, it's difficult for develop. So we realize that it's affecting a lot of sectors. It affects mainly in the mining sector. But mining sector, they don't get too much problem because then they generate for themselves. But even at that, if ETSA can supply them, they will prefer for taker. Yeah. Agriculture sector, they affect them a lot. Post-harvest losses and other things. Yeah. Commercial enterprises, industries, them where they operate. They will tell you say if they run the generator, it's very, very expensive. Then you come to the common man within a market where they make the ice block. So it affects all facets. Tourism, every side development depends on light. So light, truly essential. Now that make MCC actually call and say, now a binding constraint to development. We need to improve upon the light situation. But you go find out, say, like the MCC project and other projects, they actually target like whose side the lines and go. For example, the transmission and distribution lines, and they go to areas then where they get productive use of energy, PUE. So they actually do an assessment of who's in the major agricultural areas, who's in the major mining areas where light can go there. Because the reason for that for targeting big industries, because when they pay for light, then they pay at a higher rate, so there is a little bit of cross-subsidization. We're able for lower the social tariff for other people then. So lights get effect on the economy. Then they may nobody not tell you like. And as a Sierra Leonean myself, they feel that.
No, absolutely. Like you say, it's directly related to development. Yeah. I've been listening to somebody who represents the private sector, and the same World Bank country where they talk about. I don't forget it, I don't really recall the name, but I think you get one of the largest Gary processing factories in Salone. A comment was privately generating his own electricity, it might fall about 40%, 40 to 60% of the cost of producing the Gary.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is true. So anybody will tell you, say, when you ask somebody, say, it better it's out all the problem and better give me light than I go run me generator. Yeah. It is very, very expensive.
Yeah. And besides the fact itself is directly related to GDP, it also directly related to quality of life, the standard of living. Yeah. Yeah, man. If you don't host like nothing. And I can always argue this. I feel say, and you go agree with me, you as the expert or not. I feel say the poor person, they actually need electricity more than the rich man. The grid, they actually need the grid more than the rich man.
Yeah, they as you say, even by the tariff, then they can get social tariff. Yes, they use more than a certain amount of energy. In fact, at one time, when they think, say, but then they know for what, we would put current limiters then to very low consuming people there, so that you don't even need to get meters. So if you want for exceed a certain amount of current, you will just strip up. But then the problem is, there is so much illegality.
Yes.
You could go to some areas then where you feel say low current the energy users. You find out air conditioner and then they jump out of the place, and people then use so people are taking advantage. So it's a two-way street. One of the things that we need is stress on for me people then at the public information. I say we're not sharing for talk anything we wrong at ETSA. Let me be honest with people. I agree say like when people then they say 3 days they not get light. I agree say if we have a major problem, let us publicize it. Say we get this problem. This is how we're going to solve it. This is the estimated time it will take for me to come on board. So people are kept informed, even if they're bad news. But at the same time, people that say the thing that when they do wrong, we not tell them. And a lot of things that we do that will get like high current, bonding.
The revenue.
That is true. That is true. That make the tariff there in banks. Like right now, with the target some like T4 customers, big consuming people then, industrial commercial people then, because the tariff made in such a way that then they pay much higher. And if you target them, you go able to recover a substantial amount of the cost. So the projects that we're on floor right now, we get 3 projects that we get for CAB. FCDO, they fund projects, they get embedded advisors like ETSA in the CAB, and USAID get a project there. They come in and work with ETSA staff and actually go out to the field, they meter, and find out anything for customers. Them they call it a revenue loss program. So we are targeting that. Now that's 60% losses when you talk about. That's what we're trying to reduce. So there are going to be a lot of reform by ETSA, and it's going to affect people. I just want to let the public know so they are the way it affects. We're not take no prisoners. Anybody where we find out say they illegally abstract or they pay or whatnot, we'll find you here, we go use the law.
Yeah.
But we're going to go after them. And those are the people we're going to target. And they are embedded advisors coming into ETSA. Recently, when we talk about reform program, we don't get a chief operating officer. The man we don't hold that position in several countries is coming for a year. That in targets now working on the operational areas, all the problem there with the and working on revenue loss. So these are being addressed.
Okay. So one thing I think about, like then we can talk about this 3,000 paying this heavy, but at the bottom, the bottom of the ladder, then when they're there with pan body, then there will sharks there. I know you feel say the cost of electricity they actually contribute to the fact that the TIFA, if it's cheap, they don't go TIFA. For instance, let's say the social boundary they talk about. I mean, they look at the tariff a little high. But what if we make that social boundary, say the first 10 or the first 15 are free? You feel that people that go still TIFA?
I don't think it's free electricity.
Well, no, we get fixed charges. We get fixed charges where they will pay, right? We get meter charge. We get fixed charges where all man will pay at least. But that usage, what? I mean, I can always look at that progressively. So let's look at the progressive side. I mean, we know 3,000 people they pay. If we able to increase this number from 3,000 to 5,000, maybe we will increase the revenue up to 80% coming from this 5,000 or 6,000.
You're quite correct.
Yeah. So if we can,
targeted.
so if we can able to take this and subsidize for them one the way they know, we actually need an ice block for selling money. Where they cook today, they get for keep for tomorrow and next tomorrow. If we target them one day and maybe say, no, now you'll be lower. Maybe they're not going to
I agree with you, but there is one thing again I made you realize that there are countries where even if you know they get better money, I mean, when you look at alternatives, all man they able to buy phone cards. People are able to buy different things there. I mean, if the quality of the service is good, people then be willing for pay for and for pay for. But in this kind of country, I think people will be ashamed for say tin win and say fix meter or go pay for them. They go deliberately bypass them, and I think we ought to educate people about that.
Yes.
However, yes, we get obligation for keep and low.
Yeah.
We got obligation for subsidize them because there is already some amount of cross subsidization taking place. But people then way go illegally abstract electricity. You say I live now in Ramshackle, therefore I will go get full freezer, I get AC, I go make arrangement with electrician, America connect me up and bypass the meter. That is also wrong.
Very wrong.
And we have to educate people.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Yes, we should look at what they pay. But if we able to collect from them, big customer, the way they talk about, then maybe there will be some justification and say, well, why don't you look at this other band with lower round? You are quite correct.
Okay.
Alright, so Fambolem, if we are still the follower, we dey talk around the energy sector and electricity challenges them and possible solutions them on them. And with me, again, I'm the co-host, Dr. Stephen Adams, sorry, and I get the chairman for EDSA, Mr. Andrew Lavalley.
Adam
and
Stevens
Mr. Andrew
actually correct.
Adam Stevens.
Yes, is the correct one.
Alright, so we will open the phone line now for calls and text messages. If you want for GUI, you input the number na 031 742 826 031 742 826. So we just don't bring up the conversation on the tariff them. If you read around online, you already say we get one of the highest tariff rates them within the West African region. We don't get with first caller. Let we hear it from them before we continue. Yes, hello caller. Your name and who side you call from?